And now to the state capitol, where it appears abortion will be a hot topic yet again this legislative session. Several bills have already been filed that would restrict access to abortion.
But one state lawmaker is pushing back and filing a bill in response to the flood of anti-abortion legislation. News 4's Capitol Bureau Chief Brent Skarkey is in our newsroom to explain what all's happening here. Brent?
Kevin, you know, for years, Republican lawmakers have filed and passed pro-life bills. But now one OKC state rep has a bill he says will deal with the problems that those laws have caused. And the state and the nation continue to await a Supreme Court decision.
We believe that every life has value, and we're doing all that we can to protect them.
An Oklahoma legislator talking about Senate Bill 1553, pro-life legislation stating that no abortions would be allowed if more than 30 days have elapsed since the probable beginning of the last menstrual period of the pregnant woman. The bill's author, Senate Pro Temp Greg Treat, saying in a statement, this legislation is an important step that reflects the overwhelming support in Oklahoma to protect the lives of the unborn.
To try to ban abortion after 30 days, potentially after a last period, is difficult, and really talks about the fact that legislators are very unfamiliar with periods or reproductive systems.
Supporters of abortion rights say this is yet another bill that doesn't address the root causes of the problems they're meant to solve.
It's legislation like what Senator Treat is proposing that necessitates this state doing something to make sure that Oklahoma families aren't buried under a mountain of debt or other problems as a result of having a baby.
In response to the wave of anti-abortion bills, Democratic Representative Forrest Bennett of Oklahoma City has filed his own bill that would make a father's financial responsibility begin at conception.
If we're going to mandate the birth of a child, then we need to make sure that everyone involved is a responsible partner.
Most pro-life bills and laws are waiting on the Supreme Court to make a decision in the Dobbs case, a Mississippi law banning abortion after 15 weeks. Oklahoma U.S. Senator James Langford says this is the closest the High Court has been to overturning Roe versus Wade in 49 years.
I'm very hopeful that we're going to have a post-Roe America by this summer. That sometimes May or June, the court is going to come out with a decision and say every single state in America has the responsibility to be able to protect their own citizens.
But others say overturning Roe v. Wade will not stop abortions. They say Oklahoma mothers will be forced to go to neighboring states like Kansas or New Mexico.
Regardless of what happens to Roe, abortions are still going to continue. People of little means, poor folks, folks of color, will just create more obstacles. That's who will be impacted the most.
Well, Representative Bennett says the exact wording of his bill could change thanks to some recent constructive criticism. The bills can go through the process beginning as session starts February 7th.